Child beauty pageants are harmful to the development of young girls, not only because they cause self-image issues, but also because they put pressure on the children, and by children I mean ages between 3 to 10, and they also affect them negatively because they held them back from their education. For starters, child beauty pageants are harmful to the development of young girls because it causes self-image issues. Excessive makeup, hairspray, usage of visors, aka fake teeth, and revealing outfits add to the change of how they see themselves. Alongside this, the talent portion of the competitions at sometimes become very inappropriate. An example could be the Business Insider article. A 3-year-old Paisley dressed up as Julia Roberts, the streetwalker scene. And if you guys may know, the streetwalker scene is actually a prostitute. So for a 3-year-old doing that scene, it's not appropriate and can cause later on self-image issues. Alongside this, in a different article, psychiatrist Martha Cartwright states that due to such competitions, participants place a great deal of focus on their image, which can later lead to display adult body dysfunctions and eating disorders. Secondly, child beauty pageants are harmful to the development of young girls because too much pressure is put on them. Parents become so wrapped up in these competitions that they not realize what pressure they're putting on their children. An example of this is also in the Psychology Today. It states that the child may be forced to train and perform beyond their abilities, or in cases of pageants, don unrealistically flawless appearances for their ages. Parents go as far as forcing their children, 3 to 10-year-olds, to have low-carb calorie diets. And a case, I don't know if you guys know Honey Boo Boo. For her mom would give her go-go juice, which was pretty much a mixture of Mountain Dew and Red Bull for a little girl. Another example is the mom even said that she does this because on stage she wants her to be alive. She doesn't want her child to just be like on stage being a young child. She wants her to act different. Lastly, child beauty pageants are harmful to the development of young girls because they negatively affect the young girls' education. Instead of focusing on schools like most children their age, these parents are focusing on pageants. An example is in the Psychology Today. A mother states that she would have her first grade daughter miss school to go to a pageant because they would put so much money into the pageant competitions and their dresses, plus the coaches, that they thought it was more important than their daughter's education. In conclusion, child beauty pageants are harmful to the development of young girls because they cause self-image issues, put too much pressure on these young girls, and negatively affect their education. In the end, children should be children, not be mini adults working their way up for a crown. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Right. At the opening, I don't know, maybe there's a little bit of a cold or something that's going on. I thought at first you were saying are helpful, and that was kind of confusing to me because it seemed like you were going to go the opposite direction with all of the supporting structure in the speech. But then as I listened to you say it a second time, you actually were saying harmful. So it was just a slight miscommunication there in that first couple sentences. That confused me a bit. There's a pretty good preview of what the supporting structure is going to be, although I do think maybe you rushed through it a little bit. The points are identifiable and labeled as you go through the body of the speech, so it's organized easily enough for us to follow. I do think that there's a scarce, it's not that you don't have evidence, you have some evidence, and some of it is pretty good at explaining what the issue is. You've got lots of examples, for instance, to illustrate potential problems. The problem is getting beyond the particulars and being able to make a broader generalization. The closest you come to being able to make those generalizations is when you are quoting doctors and psychologists, for instance, who suggest that this may have this particular kind of effect. But we don't know that it has that kind of effect. There's no long-term research on this. It seems a little bit speculative, but at least it does come from somebody who's authoritative, so I can give it some credence there. Like I said, I thought you did a very good job with the examples. There's really no statistical information on this. It's reasonably well presented. I like the summary at the end, which does a pretty good job, but it is a brief presentation, so you use only about half the time that you had. So there's probably room for some additional information to support your position. All right, thank you.